What's going on, guys? NepentheZ. Whoa. No. What's up, guys? NepentheZ here, and welcome to episode number 70 of Rise to Fame Ultimate Team Series. We are using a silver team, the Silver team from the last episode, guys, and we're trying to win the Gold Cup with them. They're pretty damn good, yeah, I mean, Foot is back up. From what I understand, a lot of people had 72-hour bans when they had the 15 million coin glitch thing happen to them, and some people got perma-banned, which is really frustrating because I know one person, a friend of mine, that got permanently banned, even though he did nothing, no more than other people that just exploited the glitch, and they didn't get banned. So that's quite annoying. But EA have removed all the 15 million coin transfers and, fixed the market, I guess. I don't want to say fix the market because the market's always broken as hell. But, yeah, they've kind of stabilized the market again, back to what it was at. But today, guys, we are going to talk about PlayStation versus Xbox controllers. For those of you that have used both, like myself, I do honestly believe you have more of a valid opinion. For those of you that just use PlayStation and are going to be like, oh, PlayStation's the best, that's why I use it. And for those of you for Xbox that say the same kind of thing, please try and keep those biased views to yourself, and hear me out and understand where I'm coming from and why I'm coming from. The reason why this commentary came about, the reason why this debate comes about, is because I did the Kick TV tournament video and I had a little moan about Xbox controllers because I don't personally like them. Of course, that is just my personal opinion. I had a little moan about them, and like I say, I don't like them. And I'm going to explain both pros and cons of both controllers, both joysticks, and then give you my overall recommendation of which one I like better. So we'll start with the pros of the Xbox 360 controller. The A, B, X and Y buttons are very, very nice. They're very smooth. They don't ever hurt my fingers. I don't ever get blisters from using them. And they are pretty nice and pretty smooth. And the triggers on the Xbox are somewhat better. Let's say this, that for me the right bumper and left bumper are better, but for me the right trigger and left trigger on the PS3 controller are better. So I like the right and left bumper. I don't really like the R1 and L1 buttons because it's hard to explain why, but sometimes I press them and it doesn't feel like anything's happened. But the bumpers on the Xbox controller, they're like mouse click buttons, whereas on the PS3 it's like a keyboard, an old jelly keyboard style button. So that's why I prefer those sort of triggers personally. I also prefer the Xbox button in the middle. It's big, it's bold, it lets you know what's going on. For the PlayStation, to see, if you've got the controller in your hand, you can barely see what controller number you are. On the Xbox, you're top left for number 1, top right for number 2, bottom right for number 4, and bottom left for number 3. And I feel like the visual aid for that is better. Not that that really matters in games too much, but that's just how I feel. So that's pretty much all the pros I've got for the Xbox controller, which I guess is a fair few, considering I don't like the controller. Now for some cons of the Xbox controller. Now, one of the biggest debates I had was the fact that the Xbox controller thumbsticks are in natural positions, whereas the PS3 ones aren't. I'd just like to squash that instantly because the Xbox 360 controller thumbsticks are in different positions. Now, where the X, Y, A and B buttons are, if the other thumbstick was there on the Xbox controller, I wouldn't really be able to argue my case. But nobody's thumbs are naturally fucked up. I don't believe so anyway. Nobody's thumbs are like, one's kind of pointing at, what's that, like 1 o'clock, and the other one's pointing at 10 o'clock. Nobody's thumbs are like that. So I don't believe it's natural. I don't believe that that's natural. So yeah, I completely disagree. And for me, the left thumbstick is really, really uncomfortable, and it genuinely hurts my hands when I use the Xbox 360 controller for a prolonged period of time. Especially moving the thumbstick left, I don't know, it really, really hurts. I don't know why, but after a while I get like bad cramps in my hand, bad pain. And the other thing I don't like about the Xbox 360 controller, or one of the other things, is the inverted thumbsticks. I like the smooth, round PlayStation thumbstick. It gives me more control and it feels a lot better. And there's these like little dimples on the inverted thumbsticks in the Xbox, and they also hurt my thumb. It's crazy, I know, but they hurt my thumb. And the last thing that I don't like about the Xbox controller is the battery pack. Now, I understand that you don't have to have that. You can get a wired controller, and that's fine. But on the wireless controller, the battery pack really impedes my fingers. It feels like I'm holding a fucking brick, and I personally don't like it. So that's the pros and cons of the Xbox controller, and now we'll swiftly move on to the PlayStation controller because this is going on a lot longer than I thought. So what I like about the PlayStation controller is it's nice and compact. Yes, it's lighter, yes, it's smaller, but my hands fit really, really well around it. My middle fingers kind of like rest on each other underneath the controller, and it feels natural. My thumbs in the natural position sit just above the start and select buttons, which is in a very similar place to the Xbox controller. But to move them down to the thumbsticks doesn't feel too unnatural. It doesn't feel unnatural at all, in my opinion. The fact that they're right next to each other allows for very easy symmetry. So for me personally, in terms of skills and skilling, not that I do that too much these days, it works so much better because everything's symmetrical. It's just a lot easier. So that's what I like about the PlayStation control. I also really love the L2 and R2 triggers on the PlayStation control. They're lightning quick. You only have to like nudge them to get it to do what you want, whereas I feel like on the Xbox you have to like push the whole thing like almost all the way in, and it just allows a bit more creative freedom in my hands. What I feel like, I like the fact that it's also very lightweight, and yeah, like I say, you know, it just fits nicely, very nicely in my hands. As I said in the Xbox controller, I love the fact that the PlayStation controller thumbsticks are concave. It allows me to maneuver them very swiftly, very smoothly, very nicely, and that's pretty much fantastic. There's not too much more I dislike or like about the PlayStation controller. What I really don't like about the PlayStation controller is the the XO, triangle and square buttons are very harsh. Like if you play like games like track games and stuff where you have to like keep scrubbing over like X and circle or something, you're just going to rip your hands up and it doesn't feel good. So overall, I prefer the PlayStation controller. I like genuinely have trouble playing FIFA when I'm on Xbox. Like, it not only does it hurt my hands, it feels uncomfortable, it feels unnatural, and I'm sure if I played it a lot I would get used to it. That goes without saying. But for me, the PlayStation controller is just a better product. That's all I have to say. Like, I do agree somewhat though, it would be better if it was a little bit chunkier, maybe like an extra 10 to 15% bigger, but I also feel like the Xbox controller could do with being 10 to 15% smaller. That might help my things there. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully this doesn't seem like I've been completely biased towards PlayStation. I've definitely tried to weigh up pros and cons for both controllers and give my genuine and honest thoughts about both controllers, but I prefer the PlayStation controller. So there we have it. Maybe we'll get into a console debate afterwards, but guys, this is the game. I won that game, but it counts as a loss because the EA servers went down to shut FUT down for a couple of days while they fixed it. But if you like this video, hit that like button, would mean a lot to me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.